Hi everyone, Wendy here again for the last time in our little series of presentations about how grand grammar is, and this one is about the complex sentence using relative pronouns. So let's have a look. So there are two types of complex sentence. Both of them contain an independent clause and a dependent clause, and that's what we looked at in the previous video. We looked last time at the complex sentence that uses a dependent clause that starts with a subordinating conjunction. This time we're going to look at complex sentences that contain dependent clauses, so a group of words that don't make sense by themselves, that start with a relative pronoun. So let's see what that's all about. So just a quick reminder, back to the definition of the complex sentence on page 46. We're now looking at this second type here with the relative pronoun. So again, we're going to turn one of our simple sentences that we had joined together in a compound sentence into a dependent clause. How do we do that? So if you look on page 47 and 48 of your study guide, you'll see the list of common relative pronouns that we'll start these type of dependent clauses with. And these are words that you're probably already very, very familiar with because we use them every day in our speech. Who, whose, whom, which, and that. So what do these type of complex sentences look like? So they can have two main patterns. They can start with the independent clause all by itself, the simple sentence, and then this can be followed by a dependent clause beginning with a relative pronoun. Or they can have the dependent clause that starts with the relative pronoun situated in the middle of the independent clause. So it's like we embed some words in the middle of the simple sentence or the independent clause. So let's look at some examples. But quickly first, the study guide says that these type of dependent clauses that start with relative pronouns are called adjectival clauses. That's because these dependent clauses describe the noun that they're placed next to, even though the clauses still don't make sense on their own. So they're dependent. They do something for the noun. They give us more information about it in a descriptive way. So here's an example. This is a complex sentence. The student who was excited about starting steps was early to class. So independent clause, the student was early to class. So you can see the first part of that is at the beginning and the second part of that is at the end. So the dependent clause has gone into the middle of the simple sentence. And this dependent clause describes the student. What is it that we now know about the student? They were excited about starting steps. So that's the dependent clause, and the sentence, if we took those words out, would make sense without it. Okay. The second example here is the other pattern. Essay writing for university is a STEPS course that teaches academic writing skills. So here our independent clause or simple sentence comes first and it's not interrupted by any other words. So this is our independent clause. Essay writing for university is a STEPS course. Full stop. The dependent clause is that teaches academic writing skills. So that group of words describes something about the STEPS course, tells us something more about it, gives us some more information. And the relative pronoun that we've used here is the word that. So what do you need to do? Work through the activities in the study guide on numbers 112 and 113. Ask any questions that you need to, and on page 52 there's an excellent summary of the different sentence patterns that we've looked at over the last 2 weeks, and give yourself a big congratulations for revising all this information about sentence structure. You'll find it really valuable as you continue now into more extended pieces of writing. So good job.